Soldier Hansen was a man of immense courage and determination. When he was deployed to Afghanistan, he knew that he would have to face every fear imaginable. He had no idea where he would be stationed or what would happen next. The risk of injury or death loomed large, and he knew that he would have to be brave and focused at all times. As with any soldier, Hansen was not sure what his job would be until he arrived. He soon found out that he would be part of a crew doing survey work. That meant moving around with his team and making sure that the areas were secured for other soldiers. It was a very dangerous job, and they had to work as a team to protect each other. But even with the best skills and instincts, humans do not have the same senses as animals. And this is where the service dogs come into play. Dogs have many uses in the military, including being trained to detect any type of explosive. They help the men discover bombs and mines that they could never see themselves. That's how Taylor came into Sergeant Hansen's life. Taylor was assigned to Hansen's company. Her job was to protect the people from hidden explosive devices and help them find a safe way through the area. With Hansen watching and caring for her, a wonderful relationship quickly developed. Of course, it was a great relief for the soldiers that they had a service dog. That meant they had extra senses to have their backs at such a dangerous time. Taylor settled into the squad very well from the start. Everyone took good care of her. But the bond that formed between the sergeant and Taylor was not easy to surpass. Because they were so close, they soon became best friends. They got to know each other so well that they could communicate through their body language alone. More than once over the years, Taylor had saved Hansen's life, and he had saved hers. It was a working relationship that just worked. But as with any military service, there came a time when the assignment came to an end. Luckily, both Hansen and his beloved Taylor were well at the end of their assignment. But now came the point where they had to go their separate ways. As property of the US military, Taylor had to be returned to the military kennels. There she was safe, but quite lonely. Hansen went home to his hometown instead. When military dogs have completed their service, they are often put up for adoption. The great thing is that their former caregivers always have the opportunity to adopt them before they are adopted to civilians. And of course, Hansen was more than ready to have Taylor by his side again. But there was a problem. The cost of all the logistics of transporting service dogs back to their handlers is often simply too high. In some cases, this costs several $1,000s. Many soldiers simply do not have these means. And so, sadly, Taylor and Hansen were separated with a great deal of distance between them. This was a devastating time for both of them. Hansen often called the kennel to inquire about his canine friend. He had photos of the two in his wallet and on his fridge. They reminded him of the good things he'd experienced on the field. But no matter how hard he tried to convince himself that everything would be fine, he couldn't help but feel the emptiness that reigned within him. Then one day, out of the blue, he got a phone call that would change everything. A phone call that made his face shine with happiness and his eyes cry. The call came from a stranger, from a person he didn't know himself. She introduced herself as Molly Oliver and began to explain herself. Hansen could hardly believe what he was hearing. Molly explained that she is a stewardess who has an interesting passion. She brings service dogs together with their handlers. You can imagine that Hansen was completely incredulous. Molly didn't just arrange for these cute animals to be reunited with their humans, but she also did this at her own expense. She felt that these dogs just belonged somewhere else and wanted to give them a good life. She went on to explain that she had enabled several other soldiers and veterans to do just that. Then she proceeded with what Hansen had been waiting for. She told him that she had every intention of bringing Taylor back to him if he wanted. Hansen couldn't blurt out yes fast enough, so the plan was put into action. Molly had already visited Taylor and checked with the relevant authorities to ensure the adoption was possible. When Hansen gave the go-ahead, Molly put the plan into action. But although she had transported service dogs before, she had no idea what Taylor would do when she saw his handler again. Molly arranged for Taylor to fly first class to Hansen's home. It was a journey she would never forget. The moment Taylor boarded the plane, she stole the hearts of all the passengers. She made sure that everyone who even looked at her got some form of love. She wagged her tail and approached the passengers, who greeted her. Her sense of body language was just outstanding. It was quite a long flight, but thanks to the positive vibes on board, it didn't feel like it at all. Molly couldn't help but feel warm and soft inside. She couldn't wait to see how Taylor would react to seeing Hansen again. She hoped it would be like the behavior she was seeing, but she had no idea what was to come. Sergeant Hansen knew the flight's arrival time, but got to the airport much earlier than he should have. He couldn't think of anything else in his excitement. He couldn't believe that he would soon be sharing a home with his faithful girlfriend. And this time there would be no bombs or flying bullets, just frisbees and lots of walks. A dream for a dog, but also for him. When the plane landed and they got off, Molly realized that Taylor wasn't really paying attention. She seemed confused about where she was and a bit nervous about all the traffic around her. Airports are of course teeming with people. Molly started walking towards the exit and the dog obediently followed her. The woman couldn't wait to meet her favorite human and was willing to film her reaction, as she had often done with other service dogs. But what Taylor did surprised even her. As the two passed through the arrivals hall, Molly spotted Hansen waiting with a self-written sign with Taylor's name. Molly smiled and beamed at Taylor, but she wasn't the only one who spotted Hansen. Molly couldn't believe what she was seeing. As Taylor got closer to Hansen, she lunged at the man. What she then saw touched her heart. In front of her stood one of the happiest dogs she had ever seen. Hansen caught her in midair and hugged her tightly. The two had collapsed on the floor. Molly and Hansen couldn't help but laugh with happiness while Taylor was shaking all over with excitement. The two were finally reunited after so long. It was perfectly clear to Molly that she had done the right thing. Taylor was exactly where she should be. This heartwarming story is a testament to the incredible loyalty and love that our four-legged friends can bring into our lives. If you like this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more inspiring tales of bravery and friendship. See you in the next one.